Hello, rich ones. Welcome to our space. My name is Christine Ishampepe, the money mechanic, and I help you fix your finances. I am on a mission to equip Africa's younger population with adequate financial literacy, advice, and strategy so they can journey to financial freedom and live life purposefully on their own terms and to the fullest because money is no more a barrier. I want you to live your best life. The Hot Money Talks podcast is a series of honest, open, and transparent money conversations that will guide you on your journey to financial freedom. Here on the podcast, we believe 100% that financial freedom is possible with the right set of knowledge, the right amount of time, and the right circle of people. On today's episode, I will be talking about black tax. Some of us are constantly hounded by money requests from our relatives, and you keep asking yourself, how do I deal with my relatives' constant demand for money? We can't talk about this without talking about black tax because technically, now it's a worry be that a lot of us are victims of the black tax syndrome, which is basically your family's entitlement to your money. So it could be the entitlement of your immediate or extended family to your money. This now makes sense, right? Some family members think that your money supply is unlimited, especially if you live in the city. So you know how it is now when you're probably working in the city, and this is after you've gone to the university, you've gotten a degree. Probably for some people it even starts from their NYSC years, right? And then it's the mindset of, we sent you to school, we're your family, we're responsible for who you are and where you are today, so you owe us. That's basically it, right? So you see a lot of young people trying to get through life, trying to find their footing, end up suffering from black tax because they have to deal with their family's entitlement to their money. And such pressure would often lead you to forget your financial plan, to exceed your budget, and to even get into debt just so that you can meet up with such demands. Now, there's nothing wrong in rendering assistance to family members, right? But this should not be at the expense of your peace and of your financial stability. Now, if you can relate with the whole black tax phenomenon, I'd like to share some advice on how to deal with this and how to find a balance. Now, the first piece of advice would be, always be mindful of such toxic family members and set boundaries. I know that setting boundaries can be really difficult, but the truth is you must first of all identify who these toxic family members are and set boundaries. Now, I'm not saying that there are those ones that that once they're calling you to ask you for money and then you begin to run away, right? You need to find a balance. Set boundaries. Don't allow such toxic family members to think that they have unlimited access to you. Okay, set boundaries. Secondly, remind yourself that you do not owe anyone anything. Now, this is relative, right? And this is not to say you shouldn't take care of your family. That's not my point, right? It is that you must understand first of all that this money you're making, why should they feel like they're entitled to it? You must be in the position of control over your finances. You should call the shots. This is what this advice means. You call the shots when it comes to your finances. Don't let anyone else call the shots. It is your financial journey, and you must take the driver's seat in your financial journey. The third piece of advice would be that you remember that the money you are making now It's not just for now, but there's a future ahead. And because of that, you must be cautious of how you spend your money. Never lose sight of your financial goals. And this is where I ask you, do you have financial goals? When you look at your life and your finances in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, where do you intend it to be? This is important because your financial goals are determined by where you see your life in the future. Now, when it comes to black tax, you must always constantly remind yourself that this money that I'm making is not just for now. There's a future. There's emergencies I have to, get ready for. Oh, this is one of my goals in the future. I want to be able to do this, invest in this, buy land, build. I want to be able to further my education. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do this and that and that. When you have a clear financial goal for your life, it is even going to make it easier for you to set boundaries, right? And to also be able to say no when it is needed, so that you don't lose yourself in the process of trying to please everyone. So your financial goals must always be at the back of your mind, or the front of your mind, if I can put it that way. But remember that there's a future. And I always make this statement that before you make a spending decision, think about your future. And it applies here. Think about your future. Very, very important. Now, another piece of advice is communicate with your family members so they know that, they are to respect your boundaries. Communicate with your family members. This is where we highlight the importance of having money conversations. Not many of us grew up, in families where money was a subject of discussion, right? However, who says you can't be the one to start or kickstart money conversations in your family? It is by having money conversations that you are able to communicate with your family and let them know, look, these are my plans. This is what I can afford to do right now. Or I can't handle this right now. And I always say this, right? You don't have to disrespect anybody in the process. Nobody is saying call your parents up and begin to, talk to them anyhow. No, that is unnecessary. There are ways that you can calmly and reasonably communicate with your family about money and everything that, forms your decision or decisions when it comes to sending them money or spending money or meeting certain needs or even not meeting certain needs and all of that. The next piece of advice would be budget for your family. Budget for your family. Now, this is where you identify how much you can allocate to supporting your family members monthly and stick to it. If they want more, they can go and find it elsewhere. Simple, right? And I've seen this work a whole lot of times, even for me as a person, right? Why this is very important is that you're able to have control. Because you see, many times, especially if you are really, really in a family that plagues you a lot, right, with constant requests for money, you'll find out that you are spending a whole lot. Like, you won't be able to have control. And that's why a budget is important. Normally, a budget helps you or puts you in a position of control over your finances. A budget enables you to tell your money where you want it to go, rather than wondering where it went to. And that's why it's very important as well to also incorporate this as you handle issues of black tax. That what you can do is, say, this is how much I earn on a monthly basis. So I commit to sending X amount of money monthly to my family to assist them with whatever needs they have at home. And I'll just do this every month. This keeps you in check. This keeps your family in check. So they know that this is the amount of money we expect from our brother or our sister every month, and they have to work with it. This is one of the ways you set boundaries, so that they don't also think that, oh, we can wake up at any time and just call brother or call sister and just start demanding for money. No. Yes, there are places for emergencies, and I'm not overlooking that. But aside that, they shouldn't feel that they can just call you up at any time and just hound you with requests for money and expect that you're just going to, pump money into their accounts. Then finally, last piece of advice: learn to say no. See, I believe that the word no is an entire sentence. So yes, learn to say no. You can't solve all the problems of your family. Sometimes you might learn, or you might need rather, to say no. And again, that does not mean you hate your family, you don't want to help your family. It is that there are also financial goals you have. There are things you are working towards. And also, if you get drained, how do you also take care of yourself? You can't pour from an empty cup. So you must also think about the fact that you also need to have an emergency fund. You also need to have savings. You too, you're supposed to try to invest. So if you're just succumbing to their pressure every time, it means that you will not be able to meet up with your other financial goals. And you must always keep that as a priority. Never forget your goals. Alright, I hope this has been helpful. And if you found value today, please share the link to this episode with your circle. And remember that new episodes of the Hot Money Talks podcast drop every Saturday, and you can listen to them on your favorite podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Do well to follow the show on either of these platforms so that you are notified whenever an episode is released. Now, recommendations are powerful, so please tell your friends and family about this podcast so we can go on this journey together. To connect with me on other platforms, do well to follow The Money Mechanic at The Money Mechanic page on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I hope most importantly that you will take action on your finances today. Sending you love, light, and a sprinkle of money in between.